The following is a Goulash Media production. goulashmedia.net.
Welcome to the System is Down.
Oh, hello. What is up, Downers? Welcome back to the least comfortable show on the web. It is, of course, The System is Frown, the place where we talk about all the uncomfortable topics like conspiracies, politics lately, more conspiracies, and sometimes, occasionally, when there's not a pandemic or a political election going on, we talk about religion as well. If you're new here, welcome to the show. Go find the person who invited you, give him a big #MeToo, kiss on the mouth, and slap on the rear from you and from me, because I appreciate you being here, and because I know you're going to enjoy it, and I know you're going to enjoy it because we're shilling some more for Vermin Supreme today. Yes, I know, you're probably sick of hearing me talk about it. We've had quite a few chats about the good old Vermin Supreme here on The System is Down, but, you know, it's a fun campaign, and I'm to be fully transparent, and I can be now that the debate is over, which if you missed our debate, we live streamed a full 12-candidate panel libertarian presidential debate last week. Go check that out. But now that that's over, I don't have to pretend to be unbiased. I mean, I was pretty obviously biased from the get-go, and I haven't been too quiet about it, but I am fully supportive of Mr. Supreme and his campaign for a great many reasons that I have discussed and will continue to discuss. And I am working with his campaign. I'm doing their video work and some of their design work and stuff like that. So, first campaign I've ever worked on, first campaign that I've ever been excited at the notion of working on. So, he's got my endorsement at this point, obviously, and I've made some friends with some of the people in his team, and, you know, this podcast is just chatting about what comes up, and right now what comes up is talking about Vermin Supreme's campaign. So today, I'm talking with campaign manager Desarae Lindsey for Vermin Supreme. Yeah, and it's just going to be getting into her story, how she got involved with Vermin, and she worked on McAfee's campaign in 2016, and just a fun little chat. So we'll get into that here in just a moment, but before we do, I got to remind you guys about the Downers Club, which is what keeps this show getting bigger, better, and more beautiful every single week. And people who join the Downers Club get all the bonus content, all of our backlog of bonus content, and all of our current log of bonus content. We do extended interviews with guests, we do game shows, we do movie and TV reviews, and all sorts of fun stuff. And again, this show, the quality of this show depends on you. So if you think it's lacking in quality, hey, consider helping out. If you like what you hear and you want to hear more, go to patreon.com/The System is Down and sign up for as little as $5 a month. Also, this episode is sponsored by our lovely sponsors at Brave Botanicals. Brave Botanicals is your one-stop shop for all the natural fun stuff like kratom, CBD, colloidal silver, and all sorts of other things. I personally use their kratom. I think it's fantastic, and it just gives me a nice energy, a nice fuzzy glow during the day, and helps me focus, which I often need. And you know, I know a lot of y'all libertarians are a little ADD as well as I am, so you know it helps me get work done. I've got a surprising amount of work that I need to get done, so it's been my go-to lately. Check them out. You can try the kratom. I think the White Lightning is my favorite, but you can try any of them for a free. You can get a free ounce at freeounceofkratom.com by entering the promo code TSID. Again, that's freeounceofkratom.com. and use the promo code TSID. That promo code will also get you 5% discount on your entire order, whatever your order may be outside of that ounce of kratom. So you can use that in perpetuity and save yourself a little bit of money, give us a little bit of kickback on, you know, helping the show out with our sponsor. And you'll let them know by entering the promo code TSID that you guys are awesome and we are the ones who sent you. So check them out at freeounceofkratom.com. promo code TSID. All right, let's get into what you're here for, and that is, of course, our conversation with the wonderful and awesome Desarae Lindsey from Team Supreme. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, let's get weird. My guest today is the campaign manager for Mr. Vermin Supreme, Desarae Lindsey. Desarae, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing well. And like I said before we started recording, just going to do some more shilling for the man himself, our future friendly dictator, Vermin. But I want to get some information on you. What did you do before you got into all this political nonsense that you're doing, and what led up to that?
I pretty much just went and saw bands play all the time. It was kind of my thing. I don't know.
Yeah.
I kind of did have a little bit of political leanings and awareness and stuff. Back in 2002 or whatever, I put on a benefit show for the West Memphis 3, and that actually went pretty well. So it was kind of a combination of my, worlds colliding,
Sure.
my love for live music and, for justice.
Sure. Yeah. Did you, before you started working on the McAfee campaign, did you do anything in politics before that, or was that your first?
Yeah, I actually started our, I just saw my chat box says Vermin Supreme. It's his account, so.
That's all right. It shouldn't show up.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I started our local county party. I came into the party by way of Ron Paul in 2011. And, I actually joined the Republican Party. Oh man, I can see my mess. We do Vermin's shipping here. Move this out of the way. We had to put a table in the middle of our freaking house.
Nice.
Try and keep up with shipping all this merch and stuff.
That's all right. Keep it real. That's fine.
Yeah.
So, my husband and I actually started out in the Republican Party. And then, there was that mentality of we need to fix the Republican Party and all that. And then we went to the state convention and we were Ron Paul delegates and we're there. And when they're going over their platform and certain other things, we wanted to bolt. We were like, why are we here? This is disgusting, So, and we just, I told my husband, my future is not in this party. We read the Libertarian Party platform and that was that.
Yeah. Right on. So as far as working on campaigns, what got you started doing that?
I just really like campaigns. I like PR. I like shenanigans. I like, I'm not one for the spotlight myself, but I like strategizing.
Yeah.
I've had friends run various campaigns and, I'd go block walk for them or make calls for them. And gosh, I think the McAfee campaign might have been the first one that I was involved in, as much as I was, to the level I was. I started out as just a little volunteer and then wound up being paid staff at the end of it.
Yeah. So you definitely have an affinity for the odd candidates. Am I correct in that assumption?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Well, obviously y'all are, if you're familiar with the Libertarian Party at all, then you're familiar with the infamous libertarian stripper.
Yes.
And that was in 2016. And I had just joined the radical.
I want to clarify what you're talking about because we do have about a 50-50 split listener base here.
Oh, okay. James Weeks.
Yeah.
He decided he was going to strip on stage at the national convention. And our national convention was, of course, being broadcast on CNN. And there were a lot of people that were angry about it. And there were a lot of people that were not. I was among the ones that were not. And I had actually just joined the Radical Caucus right before that. And I guess they were at odds with him for that. And I was upset by that because I was like, that was a radical move. And
about as radical as you can get.
Yeah.
Still be legal. So.
So from there, the Audacious Caucus was formed, and so I got to be one of the founding members of that.
Nice. Yeah. So what was your part in the McAfee campaign back in 2016?
I wound up being the delegate outreach coordinator, and I have to say, the McAfee campaign and the Audacious Caucus as well are probably like two of the main reasons why I am kind of the way I am, as far as preferring kind of the more loud and bold and colorful flavors. McAfee, when I first found out he was running for our nomination, I was like, oh, great, here's our party's Donald Trump.
Right.
But he actually spoke with so much passion that I was really impressed with him. And I have to say, working on that campaign really helped kind of embolden and empower me as an activist. Like, he really, he was very encouraging. He was very inspiring. That was a really, really good campaign to work on. His campaign manager at that time, Tiffany Madison, she was amazing.
Yeah.
She was absolutely amazing.
Yeah, I loved watching him in the debates back then. He's kind of taken a turn in the last 4 years. He's been on the show since then too, and I'm not sure how many English words were involved in that show. But what's your take on his current "quote unquote" campaign? Do you support him still, even though you're running against him?
I like what he does. I like the flavor he brings. He's gone a little bit like too weird for me this time.
Yeah.
Just in a way that I can't really relate to. He did ask to be Vermin's running mate. I don't know if y'all saw that a few weeks back. And but we have a running mate.
Didn't he drop out of the race and then ask Vermin Supreme, and then Vermin turned him down, and then he came back in the next day?
Yeah, he did. And now he's Adam Kokesh's running mate as of Monday.
Really?
Yeah. Was that yesterday? Yeah, yesterday.
I did not know that. Yeah. Interesting. That's going to spice some things up for sure. Wow. So what brought you out of that? What did you do in between leaving the McAfee campaign and over the years between that and coming into this new colorful campaign that you're in now?
Other campaigns. One of my really, really good friends named Clayton Hunt was running for, well, actually before that, Corey Watkins, an activist here in Texas who's known for a lot of gun activism and cannabis activism. He's the guy who stood up at the Texas Rangers game wearing a bright yellow shirt that said "taxation is theft" on it, like right behind home plate.
Nice.
And it was on 4/15. So the anniversary of that will be tomorrow. It was on tax day.
Nice.
So he actually ran for our gubernatorial nomination, and a lot of people were opposed to him running because he is known as like a bold street activist. And they're like, well, we need like a respectable suit and tie guy. And we're like, no, he can actually bring new people in, and here's why. And, you know, we spent a long time on that campaign. We did bring in a lot of new people, and we actually lost that nomination by 6 votes. So we did really well, I think.
Yeah.
We thought we would either like win it by a landslide, which we thought was less likely, or lose it by a landslide, which we thought was more likely. Yeah. So I feel like we did really well. And then at that same time, Clayton Hunt, who was also on Corey's team, Clayton Hunt is the only real libertarian. And if you go to the onlyreallibertarian.com, there's your proof.
All right.
But so he ran for state house, and Vermin actually like volunteered for him, which is really cool. And then Brian Ellison was also running for Congress. So I wound up on his campaign. I knew it was kind of biting off more than I could chew, but I was really impressed by his police activism. And he was looking for more people on his team. And I was like, I just can't resist. And then I was running for Congress myself, but that was more just, I wasn't like a really active candidate. I just wanted to bring attention to like psychedelics activism and stuff like that. That was pretty much the entire point.
So
and I was Vermin's treasurer for a little bit.
You were what?
Vermin's treasurer for a little bit when he ran for Kansas Attorney General.
Nice. That's awesome. So you've kept busy, that's for sure, over the years. So tell me about what the process was of getting the first... Vermin has credited you as the one who came up with this idea. you want to explain the process of getting Vermin on board with doing an actual serious campaign for the first time in his 35 years of quote unquote campaigning?
Well, so like I just mentioned, that Kansas run, that was very short-lived. Kansas had like no residency or age restrictions with who could run for office.
Wow.
So he was just going to do it, for fun because he's Vermin Supreme. Right.
Yeah.
and at first he thought about running for governor, but then he saw there were a bunch of teenagers doing it and he was like, oh, I want to support them.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, it's really cool. And of course he was knocked off the ballot and then, he sued to get back on, but yeah, no, they weren't having it. But it was fun while it lasted. And so we kind of established a rapport then, because before that I was just, like fan number, blah, 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 whatever,
Sure.
just, we didn't have any real personal interactions or relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And, outside of fangirl stuff. So, I was talking with Paul Stanton, who ran against Augustus Invictus actually in 2016 and won. And won in that primary. But Paul Stanton is a friend of Vermin's, and we were talking about, wouldn't it be cool if Vermin actually made a run for it? And because we're going to wind up with Trump again. We might as well expose the system for what it is.
Right.
And we were like, screw it, let's ask him. And we did. And Vermin took his time answering because he and his wife were actually about to retire.
Right.
And moved to Hawaii. And then there was a volcano eruption there that was near their property. So it was kind of a sign, I guess. I don't know.
Just natural disasters following him around. Doesn't move there. He stays here and gets involved in the presidential election, which is, the same thing.
So, we decided to do it. And we have had to go maybe a little more serious than we initially intended, simply because, the libertarian delegates have kind of demanded that of him, and he wants to show them that he is a legitimate candidate. So, at first we were like, really, about like taking off the boot at debates and stuff. But you know what? I think it's actually worked really well for him.
It has, yeah. It's made it so people can see that there is a completely different side, because a lot of people just can't get past that one eyesore distraction that makes them only see the last 30 years of Vermin Supreme instead of the serious thing.
Yeah, I think a lot of people also aren't aware of quite his body of work as an activism either, or as an activist. He's super legit. So,
yeah, why don't you get into that a little bit? I know we've talked about it a little bit here on the show before, but what is some of his history? Because a lot of people only know him as this guy who just runs around making an ass of himself.
Well, his running around and making an ass of himself has actually saved a lot of people's lives. Or so they say. So he has a real gift for de-escalating tense situations between protesters and police. And humanizing both sides to one another. He actually saved who was it? It was on Primo Nutmeg and at the Trump inauguration.
Yes, I have seen it. I don't remember.
I've seen it too, and normally I know this story really well, and I'm just having a really difficult time recalling right now.
Just YouTube it. You'll find it. It's there.
A Trump supporter from Antifa people or something like that. But yeah, so he's done a lot of marches and direct actions, and if anybody has a couple hours to spare, actually I think we're going to wind up showing this probably on his Facebook page soon, since we're all quarantined and stuff anyway.
Yeah.
The film that came out about him about the 2012 cycle called Who is Vermin Supreme? It's
fantastic.
So good.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I've seen it.
Yeah, it's what made me really fall head over heels for him, because I was always a fan before the satire and got the joke, and all of that. But the watching that, I was just blown away.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And until you actually dig into it, everybody just sees the surface level glitter bombs and silliness. But yeah. I actually first met him and spoke with him at Porkfest this last summer, and me and Mark Clare from Lions of Liberty were doing an interview with him, and we both went into it not knowing that he was doing something serious because it was like right at the beginning of the campaign. Yeah. And we were just like, let's just do a funny interview with Vermin Supreme, and then Mark just starts asking him some silly questions, and then he just totally switches it around. We're like, well, that's not what I was expecting at all.
That's great. Yeah, I think that was like in February, wasn't it? That
would have been
early
last
spring.
June, I think.
Oh, that was in June? Oh, okay.
I don't remember when Porkfest is.
Yeah, I guess if it's in New Hampshire, it would have to be June, not February. So,
right.
Yeah.
Not frozen tundra time. Yeah, June 20-something last year. But, yeah, it was great. And that first got me thinking, there might be something here. And then I had him on the show, and I was kind of into it, It's like, I don't know what this really is. I kind of get it. It's fun and funny. And I support it as a joke. But then after hearing him on the debate stage at the Illinois convention, I was like, I'm in. You got me. So
awesome.
Kayla, how about you?
What?
Just so you know, you're our fourth interview today. So she is like half asleep right now.
Hey guys, this is Dan's wife, Kayla. I just wanted to interrupt this podcast to let you know that he puts a lot of work into it for currently no monetary profit. And he has a family to feed. To do so, he runs his own media business called Goulash Media. Dan has a crazy creative brain that makes him uniquely able to take your project, whatever it may be, and make it the full package. So whether you're in need of graphic design, logos, branding, commercials, wedding videos, podcast jingles, music production, music videos, merchandise, websites, pictures, or what have you, contact Dan and he'll seriously make you look and sound awesome. For more information, just go to goulashmedia.net. That's goulash, Goulash, media.net, where Dan caters to the little guy with the big vision.
I'm not great with the political stuff, so I don't know very much. But I was wondering how you thought our current situation with everyone being, shelter in place is going to affect everything this year, especially in it seemed like such a great year for libertarianism because everybody's looking for the less government, what's going on here, kind of realizing maybe that they have libertarian ideals. And now this.
Yeah, that's a tough one too, because I know in y'all's state, Illinois, a lot of the libertarians had just announced or been selected at the convention, which was kind of like the very tail end of our freedom, as it were. Because we pretty much wound up having to quarantine like right after that weekend.
Yeah.
Right.
And so, yeah, we have all these people that are like rearing to go, and, they did this ballot access fundraiser and all this stuff, and then boom. So it's tough. I know that we do have people in the party that are working on it. The LNC is working on it. We have individual activists working within their states. That's difficult. What else is difficult too, though, is, the old parties have their primaries. How are people going to go out and vote? And they just did. And was that Wisconsin? Yeah, Wisconsin. And that's hard to ask of people when you're telling them to shelter in place and you want them to go stand in a line to pull a lever for a primary.
Stay home, don't go buy bread and toilet paper, but come out and vote for some asshole.
Right, some asshole, yeah, indeed.
Yeah.
Yeah. So where do you see this going? Obviously, this isn't the campaign that you initially set out doing because it's all online for the most part now, and it's completely taken a left turn. But do you see it as a negative? Or, I mean, Vermin Supreme he's a viral, meme anyway. He's the online guy. Do you think it's helped or hurt his case?
Probably a little bit of both, actually, within the party. And as far as trying to win the nomination, I think it's actually hurt us because, like what you just said, that's something that we encounter a lot, that people like him generally. He's a really good guy. He makes you laugh. He's a wonderful human being, but they just are really kind of unsure. And it takes that kind of in-person interaction with Vermin and seeing him perform in the debates for a lot of the libertarians to see like, oh, he's not just going to make us look like a bunch of clowns.
Right.
This guy is actually doing something legitimate and beautiful, and maybe I need to rethink my stance here. So that's definitely hurt us. And I feel like if we go to having an online nominating convention, that'll hurt us tremendously.
Yeah.
We decided to go ahead and kind of shift our strategy into running as if we're already in the general and make it look to the public as if we already are the nominee, which a lot of them already thought that because they don't understand our process.
Yeah. I mean, we are pretty late to the party every time, and not a whole lot of people know anybody other than Vermin Supreme from the libertarian candidates. So,
which is why we feel like he's the best choice.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially in this political climate.
Yeah.
So, and that's my husband, Tyler. He just got home from work. He did the website and does a lot of other stuff for the campaign as well.
Hi, Tyler.
Right on. Yeah. So, I'm sure you've gotten a lot of pushback, given that a lot of people are basically offended that Vermin is even being allowed to run. How do you handle that?
Libertarian.
Right. I mean, there are people in the party who are acting like this is like treasonous to the party and like you're trying to hurt the party. What do you say to those people?
I understand their concern, actually. I mean, I feel like my son just got home too. So. I feel like can you do something with dogs, please? Okay, yeah, sorry. I understand their concern. I feel like it's a legitimate concern, actually, especially if they haven't had the opportunity yet to see him in his debate performances and so on. Mm-hmm. I mean, even if he was running a satirical campaign, though, I feel like that's kind of not cool. It's not very libertarian. However, sure. I do understand the concern because a lot of people, I think, were really starting to feel threatened when he won that primary in New Hampshire.
Yeah. And
that was the first ever Libertarian Party primary there. And people started to go, oh, this is real. This is
shit.
Legit. Like, this might actually happen. Sorry.
The joke guy is winning. Dang it.
Yeah.
That honestly, should tell you something about, the party when the joke guy comes in and beats all your other candidates.
Yeah. But Vermin has a very large and active fan base.
Yes.
And a lot of individual donors. We have an FEC filing due tomorrow. Mm-hmm. And if you look at even our past filings, when you actually look through, we have a lot of, under $50 donors.
Yeah.
A lot. And he has a lot of love and a lot of support. And we're trying to show that to the party. Like, most people get the joke. And those that don't, just they probably wouldn't vote for us anyway.
Right.
Honestly. But Vermin's willing to, for the record, for the libertarians who are listening, who may be detractors or have some concerns, he's willing to pick up the phone and call you. So, he's a personable guy, and he won't have his feelings hurt if you give him criticism. In fact, he's really open to it. So.
He's been wearing a boot on his head for 33 years. You think he's not used to criticism?
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. So what is your ultimate goal in all of this with putting Vermin Supreme up there? Is it just to boost awareness to the party and the party's message, or what are you shooting for?
That's a huge part of it. I think that we have a beautiful platform, and I'm already seeing that he's bringing a lot of eyes and ears to it that would not otherwise have. Obviously the mission and everything that all of us do throughout the movement is to make the world a better place in whatever way we think is best and whatever we can contribute. And I feel like, with everything being so divided politically, which is, as we know, is by design, Vermin can bring some levity and some gravitas and some just much needed healing and laughter. And And honestly, I would love for people to take a look at our party, because a lot of, like, I'm already seeing it with people from Yang's campaign and Bernie's campaign that have come in, and they're reading our platform and going, maybe y'all aren't bigoted pieces of shit after all. You guys actually have a soul. You don't want to throw Granny from the bridge.
Yep.
You know.
Yeah, I was in like a Enneagram personality type forum recently. This is a little off topic, but I asked the type 5s, which is what I am, like the very analytical types. I was like, how many of y'all are libertarians? I was surprised how many of them were like, no, because I don't hate humanity and I'm not a piece of shit or whatever. And I was like,
yeah,
all right. It was just like, I haven't been a part of the movement for all that long, but it was surprising to me to see like kind of the outside perspective, because in where we are in kind of rural, nothing cornfields, most people don't even know what a libertarian is, but getting online and being like, hey, what do you guys think of this, outside of the echo chambers, having people just baselessly say things like, oh, you guys are racist and pieces of shit. It's like, what are you? I don't even know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I absolutely. And the issue with that is, though, that we have had some very loud and notable people that have run in our party, and like I mentioned Augustus Invictus earlier, you know, there's no denying what he is, and he brought a lot of negative PR to our party.
I'm not familiar with him, actually.
Boy.
Should I be?
Just consider yourself lucky.
Okay.
He's a pretty well-known white supremacist.
Oh, cool.
Calling for, like, you know, racial warfare and all kinds of fun stuff. Vermin Supreme actually incidentally chased him away from the party.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. I'd call it a win, but yeah. How do you? I don't know. I won't even go down that road. How do you even come to that as a libertarian, that certain people?
You don't. I think that. I mean, one thing I've noticed is, you know, there are several white supremacist types who identify themselves publicly as libertarian, which is part of what brings us bad PR.
Sure.
But because they're First Amendment guys, they're like, oh, yeah, right. Well, you know, I have First Amendment right to be a motherfucker. And right. And that's, you know, that's my free speech.
Right.
You know, and it's horrible that we even have to deal with that PR, because, like, even the worst of libertarians that I've met in this party in my nearly a decade here have been some of the most kind, loving people you'll ever meet. You know, good people. Mm-hmm. And so it's just unfortunate that we have to deal with that. But I mean, I believe in what we do, and I believe in our platform. So,
and I mean, there's racists in every party. So, you know, you get what you get.
Yeah, I mean, there are assholes in any group of people, period. So,
right.
Yeah.
So you say that Vermin was talking about retiring before you dragged him kicking and screaming back into this. But in the event that he, you know, wins or doesn't win, do you think he would run again in 4 years? Or is he, like, as soon as this is over, is he hanging up his boot and moving back to the volcano?
I don't think he wanted to retire. Honestly, really? He loves this.
Nice.
I think that was more kind of a family decision that, you know, I think his wife was probably really ready, and she doesn't enjoy the limelight, and so on. She's very supportive of him. She is awesome. And
she must
be. She's just the sweetest. Oh gosh. Just a firecracker, like just always smiling, always just spreading love and hugs and smiles everywhere. Just wonderful human being. And, you know, she says to Vermin, follow your bliss, follow your bliss. And so that's what he's doing. And maybe he was done with it. Maybe he felt like he'd already kind of done everything he could do until, you know, a different way to go about it.
Right.
You know, and it did take him a while to answer. But if he were to, you know, if he were to win, he's in it, you know, big time. And we've actually talked about, you know, we've been talking about it quite a bit recently. You know, would you run again in 4 years? He says he's open to it. Before it would have been like, oh, hell no. But now he's like, you know what? Maybe.
Right. Like, see how much rest I get over the next 4 years, and we'll see how I feel by that point.
Rest, though? You can't
Right.
keep up with that guy. It's insane. But
Yeah.
he's like, it's great. When he was here in Texas, I'm sorry if I'm rambling, but when he was here in Texas, we had a bunch of people from all over the state that are campaign staffers all here for his events. And I mean, all of the young people in their 20s were having a hard time keeping up with him.
Mm-hmm.
Go, 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 go.
He's definitely got the energy. He would have to.
Yeah.
That's great. So what are the next steps for the campaign moving forward? Like, what is your plan to make sure this pushes through as much as possible to the finish line to the best of the ability?
Well, delegate outreach for sure. Especially with him not being able to travel to conventions. We're actually supposed to have our state convention this weekend.
Right.
So Vermin's actually supposed to be here in Texas right now. I think I told you that the other day.
Yep.
It's so sad.
Right.
So yeah, he was actually supposed to meet with the Dallas County Libertarians tonight. So he's going to Zoom with them instead, or today. And, but we're just gonna, he goes live every day and just kind of goes to a different spot in the ocean or the woods or whatever, and is just trying to kind of offer some peace and calm. And we're still working hard, and he's again willing to call any delegate. We're hosting AMAs, trying to engage with delegates as much as possible. And I don't know if y'all heard, but like Judge Jim Gray just announced for president yesterday. Larry Sharp is his running mate. Yep. I don't know how much that affects us. Larry Sharp running, though, does affect Spike, our running mate, because Spike was the clear front runner before, I think.
Sure.
And, but, I mean, we still believe in Spike. I think he can still pull it off. So
yeah, for sure.
Spike is like the best. I don't know if you've gotten to meet him, but oh my goodness.
I have not. I've heard good things, though. Seems like a good guy. So nice. With the Larry Sharp entering, and I'm not familiar with Jim Gray. I don't know him at all, but I am. Yeah. I don't know. Do you? Is there anybody that you see as like big competition against Vermin as far as like popularity, as far as like viral marketing?
I think we actually have a pretty deep talent pool. We have a lot of good candidates. Mm-hmm. As far as, marketing and so on, though, I would say Dan Berman's really good at marketing. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, Adam Kokesh, he already had a name for himself.
Yeah. I
would probably consider those two, just if we're talking about, virility and marketing alone, probably those two would be our biggest competition. And then, of course, we've got McAfee on the ticket now with Kokesh, so that brings his abilities to that equation as well.
I'm really curious how that conversation went down. If Adam was like, "Hey, you can do this, but you gotta chill the fuck out a little bit."
Well, Adam endorsed him in 2016.
Right, but McAfee was a different person in 2016.
True, this is true.
I was all for McAfee in 2016, but
that's how we actually met online. Yeah.
It's hard to know what the man is even about anymore. He's just about crazy
he's put
videos,
up strange videos.
Quite.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we'll find out. Have they announced what is like? You said that they're talking about pushing back the national convention. Are they talking about moving it to online, or are they still hoping to try and get it, in person?
I highly doubt it'll be in person in Austin, or in May.
Yeah.
So they've said they're having a meeting, I guess, on May 2nd. Can you stop walking back and forth? It's very distracting. And now my dogs are barking outside.
It's all good. We're chill here.
So I guess I saw something, but I didn't read it yet. But something about a bylaw proposal for electronic convention. The LNC, as our current bylaws stand, the LNC can appoint the nominees, which would really suck. But I think that if they did that, they would pull the delegates and be fair and transparent. Honestly, I do think they would do that.
Yeah.
And then, but we can have it through any time between now and August, like legally. So, but some states might lose ballot access if we don't have it by, I think it's June.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's a tough one.
It's gonna be tough. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I don't know. It sucks because it's like this would have been the perfect year to have a Vermin Supreme run, but now it's like it still is, but it's like it's so hampered with all this other nonsense going on that we can't focus on the important nonsense, which is Vermin Supreme's nonsense.
Mm-hmm. It did admittedly kind of take the wind out of our sails, because our whole lives are changing and people are worried about the people that they love.
Right.
I mean, my goodness, there's somebody that's a friend of mine in the party that lives in Ohio and her daughter is pregnant. And I mean, for all I know, might have had the baby now because the baby was due like Sunday, I think.
Oh.
And I hadn't seen anything, but for all I know, it might have already happened. And she can't go see the baby. It's like, can y'all imagine that? That's her first grandchild.
Yeah.
It's so awful. It's so sad. So, I mean, people are stuck at home and not working and depressed.
Yeah, for sure. Well, that seems like a sad place to end on, but...
Aw. Well, no, there's still, there's hope. There's a lot of hope. We can, you should check out something that Vermin, on the Vermin Supreme for President page from this morning. The way it ended, I think it was really cool. It was about, replacing the old world with a better one.
Mm-hmm.
Seeing that government isn't handling this really well. And so why don't we just take care of each other and replace the government with mutual aid and disruption.
I like it.
Burn it down.
I like it. And we're going to have to talk some in the bonus here about some things. But I think that's a good place to end it. Do you want to give final thoughts on, why people should take Vermin Supreme seriously and let people know where they can find out all the information about him and his campaign?
Please, yeah. So our campaign website is verminsupreme2020.com. He's on Facebook, Vermin Supreme for President, at Vermin Supreme on Twitter. I think it's at Vermin Supreme President on Instagram. That would be an easy find anyway. He's also on TikTok, which he went viral on, which is very bizarre. We had no idea. I know he's got like 11 million hashtag views on there. It's so weird.
An old wizard knows how to use TikTok, and I don't even know what it is still.
It's so weird. Yeah, it's so bizarre.
Yes.
And as far as, as a pitch, just there's a video that you made in on the joke that's on YouTube. That's a really, really good one. And I think it's only like 11 minutes long. I think it's a good, I saw that. That's so cool. That's the drawing you made. It's really cool. But I think it does like kind of make a good case for why Vermin is the best candidate. And the fact that he's not just a joke. Yeah. People usually know what free ponies means and mandatory toothbrushing. People get it. Like it's silly and it's drawing attention to this absurdity of these laws. Mm-hmm. But Vermin is really the best candidate poised to grow our party, to keep our ballot access in the states that rely on the presidential race for ballot access. He's already bringing new people in the party in droves. They're running a contest right now to see which presidential candidate brings in the most new memberships, and we are by far like more than double all the others.
Yep.
And I think that's good proof of concept. Vermin will bring people in, and he has been.
I like it. I like it a lot. Desarae, thank you so much for being here. And if you're good to stick around, we'll do a little bit of bonus if you're cool with it.
I'd love to.
All right. Hey guys, thanks for sticking around to the end. I hope you enjoyed our conversation with Desarae Lindsey as much as we did, and I did. I can't speak for Kayla. I won't try to, even though I am the man of the house. I'm just kidding. Yeah, I really enjoyed talking to her, and I talk to her on a weekly basis. We recorded this a couple weeks ago. Some of the stuff was probably outdated at this point. I've done more work with them and their campaign since then, but I recorded a whole batch of episodes in one day, and now I'm slowly trickling them out, releasing them. So some of the stuff is outdated probably, but it is still relevant and interesting. And I've talked to Desarae on a almost weekly basis, actually almost daily basis since then, and weekly calls with the Vermin Shilling team. And, Justin Amash is now in the running. Of course, if that had occurred before we had this conversation, it would have been brought up for sure. Yeah. I personally don't know a ton about the guy. I hear all these opinions flying around that he's the Jesus Christ of the Libertarian Party. He's going to be our savior because he's got a big name and he's got a big platform and yada, yada, yada. That's not good enough for me. I don't know a whole ton about his platform and his beliefs and leanings, but I don't hear great things, and I don't think it behooves the Libertarian Party to take somebody based on just that they have a big political name like a Bill Weld, who dips his toe in, says he's a libertarian for life, says he's the OG libertarian, then pieces out as soon as he doesn't get anywhere, and then runs as a Republican the very next year against Donald Trump. That's probably what we're looking at here. Yeah, I'm not going to speak too much on it. I'm not going to bash on the guy, especially since I don't have a whole lot of opinion on it. But I will say this, that Vermin Supreme is, in my opinion, he's very principled, and he's more of a principled libertarian than I am. I don't go... I'm an anarchist on paper, but and I will espouse a lot of the anarchist leanings, but I do have a lot of questions on a lot of the anarchy stuff. But I would rather err on the side of more liberties, more freedom, than err on the side of more votes or more pragmatic votes and just the system. More the system votes. I'm not in favor of it. That's why I'm shilling for Vermin. Anyway, that's enough of that. If you guys have any questions, please let me know. I can get y'all in touch with somebody who can answer your questions about Vermin Supreme better than I, or you can just ask me. Just drop me a line, dan@tsidpod.com. That is dan@tsidpod.com. All those hate mails go directly to me, and I receive them and read them all with glee. So feel free to send me your hate or your love. Either way, doesn't matter. And you can go join the System is Down forum for absolutely free by going to Facebook and just typing in the System is Down forum and check it out. Just a place for a lot of weirdos, not all Vermin Supreme supporters, not all libertarians even, not all... it's just a place for weirdos like us, people who enjoy this show and enjoy having civil dialogue about uncomfortable topics, to get together and chat about the weird things like the conspiracies, the politics, and the religion. So check that out either on Facebook or just go to tsidpod.com/forum. All right. What else? Go do the like, share, and subscribe and all that junk on all the platforms. I'm not going to waste too much breath on it. Just know that it does help tremendously. It helps us beat the algorithms and fight the algorithms, especially since we've got all sorts of strikes against us and all sorts of, people who don't want us to be talking about the things that we're talking about. So help at least give them a big middle finger by liking, sharing, and subscribing on everything. We are pretty much everywhere. If we're not on a platform and you want us to be, let me know, because as far as I know, we are on pretty much everything except for Pinterest. Tumblr, is that a thing? We don't have a TikTok yet. Vermin Supreme has a TikTok. Anyway, what else is going on? Tune in every Friday for Scott McElroy and his conversations on QAnon Chronicles, where he digs into the QAnon conspiracies and he digs into everything in the news through a Q lens, and it's very fun, very interesting and fascinating stuff, QAnonChronicles.com, or wherever you're listening and watching this right now. You can watch it there on Friday. And yeah, obviously we're a place for diverse thoughts because Scott McElroy he's a Q guy. He's all in on the Trump train, and I'm over here waving the crazy flag for Vermin. So we can respect each other, and we can share a platform, and we can support each other and disagree on some things. So you do the same. Go out, have a conversation with somebody that you disagree with. Do so in a loving and civil manner, and be open-minded. Know what you believe and why you believe it, and be willing to change your mind if you're presented with new information that, is good enough to change your mind. That's all there is to it. The art of conversation is dead. Let's change that. Let's change the world one uncomfortable conversation at a time. Yeah, that's what we're all about here. And if you would be so kind, well, I think we're gonna release a midweek episode this week as well. I recorded on the same day that I recorded this episode with Desarae, I recorded an interview with Mark Whitney, who was a libertarian presidential candidate up till right before our debate, and then he suspended his campaign, as did Ken Armstrong, who I did not have an interview with, but he was in the debate. Anyway, I'm still going to release that episode with Mark Whitney because I think it was a fun conversation, and it's interesting, and a lot of it still applies whether he's running for president or not. So we're going to release that, I think, this Wednesday or Thursday. And I'll probably start pushing out some more midweek episodes because I've got a lot in the barrel that needs to be unloaded, if you know what I mean. So check back later this week for my conversation with Mark Whitney, and at the very least, if you'll have me, I will be right back here first thing next Monday morning with some more uncomfortable content for you. Until then, ladies and gentlemen, please continue to question everything, stay uncomfortable, and I'll talk to you then. Thanks.
This has been a Goulash Media production. goulashmedia.net.
This concludes our broadcast day. Click.